Welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Cleaning Business Owner. Today we're going to be talking about training your team. Now, this is a hot topic, and before we cover too much about this, I run a course on this. It's a residential course for 2 days. We've already run one, and we've got another one launching on the 2nd and 3rd of June. It was an absolute success, but what was absolutely shocking, and it shouldn't have been shocking because we were expecting this, we had all experienced business owners, and most of the people on the course already had decent sized teams and had been training. What was shocking was actually the realizations that came out for them. Oh my God, what have I been doing? They were all absolutely shocked when they sort of reflected on their own processes and went, I can't believe I've actually been doing this to people.
There are a lot of light bulb moments, as I remember, a lot of people talking about it to me afterwards. I wasn't there, but I did hear a lot about it afterwards. And yeah, there were some real light bulb moments for them that what they were putting new trainees through, it doesn't work.
Do you know the worst thing? We already had some of the best training people in the industry there. So I was already working with the best, and they're going, this is terrible. And so it was a real shocker. So I think it's going to be really interesting as we roll this out to more people, make it available to more people in the industry, because hopefully we can sort of prevent some problems, because we have a real issue in our industry. There is just no good training going on in domestic cleaning. It's horrific. You know, how do we expect these people to pick it up? But before I cover some of these, I'm going to pass you the hardest question, Diane. So the question that I probably get asked the most: can I train my team if they are self-employed? And I know this is a grey area, so I'm going to give it to you. Can you train your team if they're self-employed?
It definitely is a bit of a grey area. And I suppose my answer would be it depends, and which is often my answer. But really, it's around what you're training them in. So, okay, so technically, if you're going to use self-employed contractors as cleaners, they should already be able to clean. However, there is nothing wrong with training them in how you do things. So whether that's your safety protocols or the systems that you use for cleaning, or what your clients expect from them in terms of the delivery of the cleaning service. It kind of is it is acceptable. It's not kind of, it is acceptable if that's the purpose of the training. So it's really thinking about why you're offering them training. But the reality is, if somebody's subcontracting for your business, they are representing your business to the customer in terms of the service that they're going to deliver. So you're going to need to ensure that they are going to deliver the same service as either another subcontractor or an employed cleaner, or that you would provide. So there's nothing wrong with offering the training. And I know often we see people saying, no, you absolutely can't train them, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And it's like, that's not entirely true. It depends on the purpose of the training. And also it depends what it says in your contract. You have to be really careful not to create an employer-employee relationship by having excessive control over how they do things. But you can train them so long as you've got the right contract and the purpose of the training is correct.
So if I thought of a more specific example, so one of the things we train is how to mop. Okay. And I very much focus on it's from a manual handling point of view. Actually, most people mop wrong. It's really bad for their back. From that point of view, if I was doing it from sort of a safety point of view, is that something I could cover?
Absolutely, yes, because it's a safety protocol. This is how, when you're working with us, it's a bit like if you think about people subcontracting on a building site, you would take them through the health and safety of that site. So absolutely, safety protocols, absolutely fine to train them on those. And mopping or cleaning anything in the correct way, using the products in the correct way, is a health and safety thing as much as anything else.
Okay. And again, vacuuming, they've probably never used a vacuum like mine before.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to train them how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the things I couldn't train on would be how to dust a lounge.
Yes, but you could share with them how to do that most effectively. So you could share your knowledge, but you couldn't necessarily say, right, I need you to dust that lounge, and I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to kind of train you that way. So it's how you train them and what sort of training you put them through. But to be honest, you want them to deliver the same service as every other team member, no matter their status in terms of contracting or employed. So you need them to be able to deliver. We talk about standard clean a lot, don't we? You need them to be able to deliver that standard clean every time. So there is going to have to be an element of training in order to subcontract.
find this really interesting because actually one of the issues with training is it costs money, right? Do it wrong, but it's always going to cost you a bit of money. And it's interesting because if you are taking on genuinely self-employed people, they quite often are with you for a short term. They're only doing a few hours. And then you go, well, is it worth the investment? But then the problem is if you don't invest it, it's going to cost you more. So it's really
Yeah,
hard,
you
isn't
have
it?
to trust them to deliver your service.
Yep. Okay, right. So let's come on to this. So I'm going to talk through some of the aha moments and some of the pain points. So how most people, most cleaning business owners train their staff is that if I was the cleaning business owner, I would say, Diane, come along with me. I'm a good trainer. And if I was good, I would take you to one house and you would watch me for 2 hours, right? Okay. And on the next house, I'd let you do a bit. Now, it's quite interesting in that most of us have done a little bit of training knowledge, and we know that you pick it up through auditory and visual. But the reality is, not many of us pick it up through osmosis of just being in the room. Like me cleaning a kitchen and you being in the kitchen would not make you as good as me. During the process of cleaning the kitchen, I'm making a lot of decisions based on a lot of different factors. I'm choosing to do things just because you're watching me fold up the cloth and spray it in a certain manner, and I'm using a damp cloth, not a dry cloth. I would have to be talking so continuously for 2 hours. I wouldn't get my job done, number one. So the only way for you to just pick it up while watching me, well, it wouldn't be possible. And you wouldn't remember it. None of us remember a 2 hour training session.
No, and what I hear a lot when I talk to cleaning business owners is, well, I went in the house and I told them everything that we were going to do in the house. I walked them around the house and I talked them through every single room and what we were going to do. And I'm just like, what was their face like? Because mine would have been overwhelmed. I don't know what to panic.
In my business, it takes 5 days to get to that stage. And what happens in most businesses, well, everyone knows how to clean. So I'll just tell you what to do and you'll just do it. Well, none of us can remember a 20-point list anyway. So even if I told you every single room and left you to it, you'd never remember. And the other thing that I realized, and we got my training manager, who's wonderful, and she'd been cleaning with us 2-3 years. And I said, right, you're now becoming the training manager. What I'd like you to do, I will train you how to clean the bathroom. And bearing in mind, she's been doing this for years. But you've got to clean it exactly to my method. And a bathroom that would take her 20 minutes took her 40 minutes because she kept checking what she was supposed to be doing. She was doing it to my method and it felt not natural and it took her longer. And that's an experienced cleaner. And I think it's really hard because we're asking people to do things really differently.
And the risk, though, is if you don't train them to do it your way, they'll do it their way, and that might not be what your customers are happy with. So you've got to go through this almost pain, haven't you, of investing the time and the money into their training because it sets you up for the long term.
I think it's really interesting when you say if they don't do it right, it might not be what your customers want. And I think it's a bigger issue than that, because if you are growing a business, and we all know that the money is in the scalability of a cleaning business, to a certain extent, it's not about what your customers want. It's that you can't replicate what they're doing. And everybody's doing it differently, slightly differently. The issue with most cleaning business owners, let's say I, for example, taught you how to clean a bathroom and I said, right, just watch me for a bit. Now you go clean it. And I wasn't happy with what you did. That is down to me then going, oh, I did. I'll say, but Louise, you never taught me. And I'll go, yeah, but it's just obvious you don't do that. What's our relationship going to be like, Diane? You're now not going to kind of trust me. You don't think I'm competent or capable. But the issue is most cleaning business owners have not thought through a process to the degree where you could teach absolutely every element of a bathroom.
Yeah, I agree. We just expect them to just pick it up. And, quite often we expect them to be straight out at a client's with us, able to deliver a 2 hour clean with you in an hour together. And that's just not possible because they just haven't got the skills yet. But we don't allow them the time to build that skills base. We tend to overwhelm them and then we wonder why they don't stay.
The issue isn't even that. The issue is you are not telling them what you want them to deliver because you don't know. You just know how to clean a bathroom or whatever. But if I asked you to write down how to clean a bathroom, I mean, you could run it off ChatGPT, but that isn't the right answer anyway. You could probably do it, Diane, but that most people out there could not give me a 40-point bullet point on the steps to clean a bathroom.
Yeah, and I get that a lot when, people are like, what do I do about my training? Because we realize that that's the big gap in what's going on in the business. And I'm like, you write down how you do it.
And
That's the starting point.
people
And that's exactly what I did. I wrote literally a cleaning manual for each room. I wrote a bullet point list, exactly like you said. I even have a list of things that are often missed in each room. So things like, toothbrush cups in bathrooms and light switches and things like that. And I said, that's what you need. But I can't tell you how I would do it. It's got to be how you do it. And then you train your team how you do it.
The really bad point about this is if you don't have a really clear, let's say a 40-step process to a bathroom, I actually suspect it's longer than 40 steps. But anyway, let's say someone does it wrong or you get a complaint from a customer. How can you tell them off?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't, they're not accountable ever because they're only going to say, well, I didn't know to do that or I was never told. And then you as a business owner are left completely powerless and you've now got to fix the complaints in some way, either a refund or you've got to fix it or do whatever. And, it almost just breaks down relationships at all points.
It does. Well, it makes your team member feel that they're failing. But like you said, they lose their trust and confidence in you. And I think the best cleaners out there are looking for that nurturing environment that's going to look after them and support them and be a professional place to work that they can have confidence in. And if you take that away early doors, they are not going to stay. So they'll either not deliver a great service and you'll have to get rid of them, or actually they will leave of their own accord because then it's not the right workplace for them.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, right? I think you'll know the answer to this. What makes a great cleaner?
It's in our business, reliability. No, it's being able to listen and understand the reasons why we're doing what we do. I think it's caring and wanting to do a great job, having a brilliant attitude. Everything else we can teach them.
Okay, but it's that teaching, right? So I'm going to give you my answer of what makes a great cleaner. A methodical cleaner.
Attention to detail, yeah. And
No, I don't
going
even
from
care about
one side of the room to the other without detouring all over the place.
All I want from a good cleaner, not an excellent cleaner, a good cleaner is someone that will just follow the system, the method. That will make them a good cleaner. If they're not caring and all of that, well, we'll do end of tenancies, right? I don't care. I will work with that. But someone to be a good cleaner is someone that just follows the process because everything else I can kind of adjust. Yes, I want them to be caring and great with customers. I want that unicorn, but I'm not always going to get that. But I can always work with someone that will follow the process.
And that's the thing, isn't it? About delivering that standard clean the same way every single time is the most important service that we can provide. Everything else is fluff, isn't it? But being able to deliver that standard clean, and in our business we call it our 7-step process. That's what they follow day in, day out. So yeah, you're right, it's being methodical, isn't it?
Okay, but let's talk about the next step. So let's say you can be the trainer now, I somehow picked up the skills to clean said bathroom and you identify that actually maybe I'm going too slow or maybe I'm over cleaning things. What we identified on the training course, which was actually an activity because we knew we were going to identify, well, I knew, they didn't. One of the issues is that when you identify that someone is taking too long to clean something, let's say, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like, you're taking too long. It's most trainers or cleaning business owners get absolutely stumped. They're like, they're a lovely person. I can't get them to speed up. They're over cleaning things. They're too thorough. I don't know what to do. And there's a whole heap of issues. But because there's no set training system, right? That's the first step. 2, they now have identified that person's too slow, but don't know what to do about it anyway. They can't refer back to the beginning bits, and then they don't know how to solve the problem the next way, and they're just completely stumped. And the only way to deal with this is to get rid of that person. And this is what we encountered. So that we do an exercise on the training course. So one person is the trainer, and another person is going to be the trainee. And at some point, they're going to be told to clean kitchen cupboards. and they are going to take 2 minutes to clean one kitchen cupboard front, which is already clean, by the way. And what we look to do, and we work with the cleaning business owner, the trainer, we want to, one, be able to identify it. Two, we want to be able to talk about it. Three, they've then got to come up with a specific activity, and we talk a lot about gamifying. They've got to come up with a specific activity to solve that problem through a game when it occurs, and they know in advance what's going to occur. We give them some time to prep for this. So what game are you going to put in place to solve that particular problem when it occurs? It's such an aha moment, because there are really common problems and nobody has ever taken a step back and go, how do we solve it and how do we make it fun? And if we can predict the problem, we're then not telling them off and going, you just need to go faster. You just need to go faster. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. So it's almost like we expect them, they're just going to get faster because that's normal. And most of the time, actually, to be fair, it is normal. But then you get we've had them in our team where they don't know where to stop. And they take on board the high standards to such an extent that it's like we can't deliver that consistently. So what sort of games were they suggesting that you put in place?
Well, you have to come on the course. You're coming on my next.
I'm coming in June. Exciting.
Just talk about games, because actually it's really interesting. What we want to do is swap the dynamics. So as a trainer, a lot of the time, because we're not training them properly, all that happens is they do something, we identify the problem, we explain the problem to them, we tell them how to fix it, then they're expected to fix it, which is quite a negative perception of training. If, for example, we, instead of letting them incur that problem, we know the problem is going to happen because it happens 80% of the time anyway, we make a game, we explain this is what we're going to play, this is the problem that's going to occur, and this is how we're going to tackle it when it does. And it's a game, it's a set up scenario. We've done that, so when the problem occurs, and it will still occur in the real life scenario, we can refer back to the game. Do you remember that, right? Do you remember what we're going to do? Let's apply it to this situation. The difference in dynamics is massive, because you're never telling them off. You're going, that's what we did, do it here. It's not, you're doing it wrong, this is what you need to do. It really changes how you're talking to each other.
And that positive reinforcement rather than criticism, isn't it? Because people react defensively to criticism.
So one of the games which I quite like, right? So toilet cleaning. How long does it take you to clean a toilet, Diane?
Not long.
Yeah, specifically.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? So we had a competition. I can tell you how long it took every person to clean a toilet, right? So we cleaned the toilet multiple times. They all got timed, right? It was a game, it was a competition. They got really competitive. These were cleaning business owners. And when we did the second round, they all halved their time. Okay. Do you think that was quite a confrontational game, or was it quite fun? Like we all watched each other. Oh, they did that. How can we tweak that? Okay. But what we're teaching is a sense of urgency through a really quite fun game. And me asking you to clean the toilet really fast, right? And we can take it down from a minute to 30 seconds. Okay. That's how fast they can clean toilets. But whether they did it well is quite another thing. But what's quite hard to teach people is that sense of urgency. So by putting it into a game, that's what we're trying to go. Like, do you remember that? Do you remember what had to happen at that point that we're actually going that bit faster? Because a lot of people go, I can't do it any faster. Put them in competition, get a league table of some of your staff, watch them do it. Watch me, I can do it in half the time. Right, you do it. It really changes what needs to happen.
Yeah, making it fun. Did you actually set a timer then?
Yep. We actually did. I made the mistake of doing it in a downstairs toilet, which was quite small. And so we could only have 1 or 2 people in there at one time. I'm going to do it in a bigger bathroom next time. And we've got a lovely big place to train in. But in principle, it can work in any toilet, on any activity. If you can bring a sense of fun to it and make it a game, nobody cares how fast you clean that toilet most of the time. But you've got to be aware of it before we can improve it.
Yeah. And actually, I suppose picking up those ideas as to how you can speed it up, that's going to help with your cleaning, but also with training other people, isn't it?
Yeah. And so when we're talking about how fast you need to clean a kitchen cupboard, we've now gone, right, we've done games on urgency. We've done games on spotting what needs to happen. We've done games on that. Now let's bring those together. So when we're cleaning a kitchen cupboard, we're now going, right, all those skills build upon each other. So actually, it's not you just need to go faster. do you remember, we're going to focus on the handle, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and by the way, let's get the timer going, because last time you took this amount of time, let's see if we can beat that like we did in that game. But it also ties into, in a training environment, we can time toilets, we can do fun things. If you're doing that in a house and the customer's there, you cannot train effectively.
No, and we talked about that before, haven't we? That the environment that we're training them in, when it's in a customer's house, the customer might be in, there's a lot of pressure on both of you, isn't there? And yeah, the damage that that can do either to the customer's perception or to the trainee who just feels overwhelmed is difficult. Yeah, if you can pick somewhere other than a client's house, it's definitely better. We do have a couple of clients' houses that we know they're never going to be there, so we will often use those as their first cleans, but we always do the training in the office now.
The other thing, so have I got it here? Give me 2 seconds. It might be behind the camera. I have a little thing, right? For those of us not watching on camera, Diane, can you see what this is?
Hot chocolate.
Was hell to the people on my Train the Trainer course. So if you want to clean a toilet, let's say, so I'm going to stick to that one. There was loads of other games and we'll play lots of them. The only way you can keep cleaning a toilet, you have to make it dirty each time. Oh, they loved it. I gave them examples. I literally said, right, go and clean the bathroom. And obviously the bathrooms are spotless before we start. I took spoonfuls of hot chocolate. Chocolate's got quite expensive now. Might do something else. Threw spoonfuls of hot chocolate and threw it. They were on the tiles. It was in the grout. And then just to really hack off the people, we took hot chocolate and I got a bit on my hand and I smeared it across the shower screen. They nearly cried when they walked into this bathroom. They were like, I can't believe you've done this to us. But what it does is, again, we're talking about a game. It's hot chocolate. It's now changing it an awful lot because we're now teaching very specific things. And they did nearly cry. And actually, it wasn't about the cleaning of the hot chocolate. But if the only way you can consistently clean the same thing is to do that. But what you realize, and if we talk about the toilet cleaning competition, by repeating an activity for the second time, you can improve on it. If I asked you to clean a toilet and then I asked you to clean a different toilet half an hour later, how are you improving? You can't. It's a different scenario. If I asked you to clean a toilet, I time you, I throw hot chocolate on it, and then go, right, do it again. Guarantee we would see improvements.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's the thing about the Train the Trainer though, isn't it? It's very practical, but it's also, like we said, light bulb moments, really eye-opening. So tell us a little bit more about it, Lou.
So it's 2 days. It's up to, I think we've got up to 8 people. We've got a massive house in this next one, which can sleep. I think we can sleep like 20 people in it. But anyway, 8 people are coming along. So you get, well, we have 8 people. There's you and I doing the training on the next one. So you get a lot of one-on-one help. It's really jam-packed full. If I'm honest, I expect trainees, normal cleaning trainees, to be up to speed within 4 days, performing at 80% of my ability within 4 days. So what we've done, and I've done this over years and years and years, refined this, we've compressed that course into 2 days. So we've got 4 days training compressed into 2 days with you as the trainers learning to train it. So it is hard, it is fast. We've really refined it down to what you need to be delivering. We're doing technical skills. You'll be making videos. We are doing practicals. You are being the trainer. We cover every element of cleaning. And actually, some of the feedback from the last people was, I had so many products with us. We had probiotic products. We had really high-end products, commercial products, but I'd also gone to Quality Save, I think I'd gone to, and we had a whole range of products that I would say avoid like the plague. And what I found was really interesting when I was talking to them is I wasn't training the products. I briefly glossed over it, but I expected them to know their own products. And the feedback from them was, Louise, I actually want you to tell me more about why aren't we using polish? Actually, tell me why this is a good product, why this is a bad product. And what I hadn't realized, because I didn't expect to be training the business owners, that was what we had to cover. It was quite interesting, some of the feedback, because to me, I'd be training that at trainee level. I'd expect them to know it already. So it was quite interesting as we went along. Things that I just assumed they knew, I've now got to add into the next course as well.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought came out of it, that from people that I spoke to that attended, was skills in giving constructive feedback. That was one of the key takeaways, because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. How do I feed back to them whether they're doing a great job or not a great job? Either way, it seemed like it was an awkward thing for people to do.
I think what's really good, because it's so practical, we obviously talked through the theory of how to give feedback, but nobody learns through theory. So what we did was we would give feedback. So they, for example, someone that was supposed to be practicing giving feedback, they'd give feedback. Then we'd look at different ways they could give feedback. Then I'd often give an example of how they do feedback, and then they'd give feedback again. In the real world, you don't get to practice giving feedback. And what they said to me is, actually, we want more practice giving feedback. So while they probably each gave feedback 5 or 6 times, what they've said is, let's feed back to each other the whole way through. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So, because again, it's a game, nobody was hurt by the feedback at all, because it's a game. They were all games. So it was a really safe way to practice your skills.
Yeah, no, love it.
And I think the other thing was, like, it's all very well studying the theory, but when they had me there, who has done an awful lot of NLP, a lot of linguistics, a lot of using your words, sometimes it's about picking the right words. It's not just about what you're saying, it's about how you're saying it. And a lot of the feedback was actually, that's what we need to see, practical examples of it.
Yeah, brilliant. So it's 2 days.
Yep. Oh, and one last thing they all wanted, which everyone always wants, templates. They wanted template phrases. So they walked away with template phrases on feedback. Anyway, yes, 2 days. 2 days.
It's in Ashton-under-Lyne, but it's just outside Manchester, isn't it? And it's an absolutely stunning Airbnb. It's even got a cinema room, hasn't it? And it's a 2-day workshop. It's available to book now on the DCBM website. If you go to our events page, you'll find it in there. 2nd to the 3rd of June. The cost of the workshop, including accommodation and your lunch on both of the days of the training. It's 3 nights accommodation as well, all included. And it's £500 for a private room or £475 for a shared room. But the shared rooms, you're not going to be in a bunk bed. These rooms are huge. You're all going to have double beds. So you can bring along a cleaning friend and share a room, and it's a little bit less expensive.
Fantastic. And both of us are there, which is going to be great fun. I loved it. And do you know what everybody loved? Meeting the other business owners. In terms of networking, it's like networking, because you're in a small group of hand-selected people that are all the same kind of people as you. They took an awful lot away from each other. Diane, is this members only?
No, it's open to everybody, but our members will be definitely the quickest to book. So if you are interested listening to the podcast, you do need to get to our website soon, because we have literally only just started marketing it.
Amazing. And be prepared. This is hard work. They've asked that actually I give you some prep work in advance this time. That was the feedback. So they want to do a little bit in advance. So you will be sent homework in advance. The course runs from 9 till 4. 2 hours homework in the evenings as well. This is a hardcore course, so come prepared. But it is good fun, and you'll get a lot from it, and it will absolutely change your views on training.
So we're looking forward to it. It's Sunday. So it's Monday, the 2nd of June and the 3rd of June, but you can arrive the Sunday evening and leave the Wednesday morning. The accommodation is booked for you.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing you there, Diane. It's really soon now, isn't it?
I'm coming over especially from France just to be there.
I love it. See you then.